Welcome to another podcast in this Dunseith Debacle. This is Indie Talk by the Dakotan, and I'm Jonathan Starr. We're going to continue these mini podcasts, 15-minute podcasts, just to get you updated on what's happening in Dunseith. Today, we are going to talk about what the media didn't tell you about some stuff that was happening in Dunseith. There was a file dump that was received. We've kind of already established that in this mini podcast series. If you haven't seen that, go back, watch those episodes, or go to mydakotan.com, click on Dunseith Debacle. You can see a bunch of stuff there about this there. But what we found is that while it felt like it was difficult to get records, there was actually some floating around that were being concealed.
There were some people getting records. It was hard for me to get records. It was hard for me to get responses.
Right.
But other people, at one point I simply asked if Shaden Akison, who worked in commerce, who now is a lawsuit defendant, if he would just confirm 12 or 13 emails were authentic state records. And he replies back to my entire email and says, to be clear, we disagree with your many assertions.
Okay.
He wouldn't even give me the basic courtesy of, yes, you're holding real state emails.
I see. Wow.
But others were getting hundreds, if not thousands of documents.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. And go back and watch the other episodes if you're just tuning in, right? Because they're going to need this series. You're going to want context.
Go to mydakotan.com, click on Dunseith Debacle, and you can see all
the first and second of this new installment.
So, the deal is there was even some of the writers, journalists that were on this story had some of these documents, and they kind of went down that path of Dunseith and then bowed out, or maybe even didn't tell the truth on the way down.
Our lawsuit discloses that because of the fact that the governor and the attorney general control the State Bank of North Dakota and thereby the banking system in North Dakota, and thereby have extensive ability for them or their henchmen to influence private bank habits and behavior, whether a person gets loans or not, things like that. There's a lot of concern citizenry could have if they find a scandal so big that it goes up to someone at the top. Mm-hmm. And I think the Dunseith scandal is a scandal which people have heard. I've released some recordings last fall showing efforts to try and just broker payments to me instead of covering the story by a media group.
Right.
And, I think people are absolutely terrified of what they're finding, and they're not telling the public. And they didn't tell me until I found out just in recent days. And some of it's just absolutely astounding. So let's go right to the main point. Right. Yep. I'm a federal aviation whistleblower, blowing the whistle on the fact that clear air turbulence, some crashes, and lots of sudden aircraft movements that are violent and that are causing serious injury in commercial aviation probably relate to what happened in Dunseith with the spoilage of the world's supply of the GG1320 ring laser gyroscope. Now, that being said, that view is shared by leading experts in the world for aviation safety and aviation whistleblowing. Mm-hmm. Some of them have been very public about that. And so what are the records? The records show that the state and federal officials of North Dakota ran a task force around our facility that was spoiling this GG1320 supply chain. And they were actually sponsoring, facilitating, managing not only that activity, but other activities they shouldn't have been doing at the shuttered, rotting, vacated defense facility.
Okay.
And that was after 2015 and up until they sold me the site. And those activities continued after they sold me the site.
Gotcha.
With the group they were partnering with, at least up until they sold me the site. And no one told me about it. I was told the site was shuttered and that there had just been some local community project attempts and they went nowhere.
Right.
And the site looked shuttered. You couldn't in your dreams have imagined that they were doing what they were doing. But it's no longer my allegation. The state has its own records, and I've seen at least one record of another $315,000 sensors that I don't have myself, but Commerce has.
Wow. That's a lot of records right there.
Yeah, it's a lot of money right there that is running through an off-the-books operation, by the way. A non-registered company with the government for manufacturing, has no certifications, no qualifications, and not even following any static safe or work procedure. So there's one thing. And Standard wrote this whole article about, oh, it's a fuzzy picture, not really sure
Yeah.
what's going on. Hofer has some records. And yet he had that.
Yeah, he had 900 pages. So why do you feel
Well, and
like...
he had more pages from Commerce. I mean, that was just the AG, but he had this Commerce record of the flight sensor word.
Why do you feel like North Dakota journalists that stepped down the path made the decision to bow out?
You just want my open, honest opinion on this?
I don't know. I'm about to find out.
I mean, it's in the suit, but I'll just tell you, I think people are as scared of the same retaliation that happened to me to happen to them.
Right.
And I know that because I had one top media executive tell me that, and I've heard it from legislators who have gotten involved. People are scared that their businesses, their finances will be taken down
Right.
if they tell the truth about this.
It's incredible. So
yeah, I mean, what else is in there? There's a message. Commerce officials were clapping themselves on the back and high-fiving each other, practically taking credit almost for cleaning up the site.
right.
9 months after they were also trying to cover up the site. When the cover-up failed, and then they were controlling every step I took, there's a message that's like, celebrating the site is now 100% clear. We spent, all day up there working with agents, and then there's an email before that saying to another Commerce official not to let me talk about the situation, because every time I talk, they take a few steps forward and then they take a few steps back,
Right.
and then they have to work hard to get me to where they need me to be. And sorry, microphone there.
Yeah, you're fine.
Where do they need me to be is that they're threatening me not to go to media. They're telling me if you
Right.
do it our way, we'll reimburse you. We know it's costing you a ton of money to just be stuck with this site. And there's even a record where they admit that the site is completely encumbered and has no commercial value because no one can move off of it what is sitting there.
Wow.
They even acknowledged that. Those records were had, and then last year those records were given out to most, not you, however.
Yeah, we didn't receive
You
it.
didn't receive it. You didn't know about it. All the reporters that talked to me last fall didn't tell me about it, but almost all of them had it. They had access to this information. They did not report.
Right. Yeah, there was some interesting stuff that happened on that. There was open records requests that were made. We received some of them, but we did not receive all of them, as we found out recently.
We thought that, we had seen them all, and we found out that wasn't even.
That's a bad deal.
You hadn't, we hadn't.
Right.
I just couldn't believe what else was there.
For sure. So that's some interesting stuff. It's interesting. We live in North Dakota. Like, I think one of the natural things of North Dakota is that you trust your neighbor,
Yeah.
Like, people leave their cars unlocked and everything. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't trust media in general, I'm sure, but it's interesting here, the lack of coverage that this got with the amount of records that was out. I think that's really a big deal.
Well, and see, the good news is, like, not the good news, but the I can answer that, which is behind the scenes, there are some people in media who have been telling me what's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
With the lawsuit defendants and their circle, there was an intense effort to try to do anything they could to discredit me, not to focus on the facts, not to focus on the truth, just to make the story go away and to make me go away. That's one thing I know. Another thing I know behind the scenes is there was a reporter who told me that there's no one qualified in North Dakota, no reporter who can actually cover this.
Right.
And
that's probably true.
That's a written correspondence.
Yeah.
And that's a prominent reporter.
And that's not necessarily a slam to North Dakota reporters. It's just that's how big the story is.
And it's a reporter who had these records and didn't tell me that they had the records. They actually led me to believe that they didn't have anything to confirm my side of the
And that
story.
part is the difficult part. That part is the difficult part.
Part feels pretty deceitful.
I'm sure it does, yeah.
But I'm hoping people will recognize that these records are coming out, and, we want to give them, I want to give them. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I hope people actually just tell the truth about this finally, because this is, it's unfathomable what I've had to been put through.
Right.
Anybody, if you go to type Court Watch 141, that takes you to the blog posts that they did on their national legal blog that sends you to the classified docs in North Dakota link, if you scroll down their page, it says remarkable allegations involving Interior Secretary Doug Burgum and classified docs in a warehouse in North Dakota. And you click the link warehouse, and then it opens up the entire 244-page lawsuit.
Wow.
For anybody who wants to get full context to why people might be afraid to wade into this issue, I think that gives a pretty good base.
To read. Very good. Well, appreciate you coming on. It's been
Glad
good
to be here.
Yeah, it's been good getting updates on what's going on in Dunseith. I'm sure this is not the last one, but just for full transparency to our viewers, you may not get one tomorrow. You got one the last couple of days. There may not be an update tomorrow, but we're going to continue to dig into this, and there will be future of these mini podcasts that will release that are just bite-sized chunks to allow us all to be able to understand better what's going on. We'll be releasing some articles here soon to give you a little more of understanding of what's going on in Dunseith. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to like and subscribe here at the Dakotan on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. And check out mydakotan.com under Dunseith Debacle for more updates. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day.